Hey there, writer rebels. It's almost a brand new year and everybody's gotten into their to-do list for next year. But what about a not to-do list? Join me today while I talk about what a not to-do list is and how that can be useful for saving your time, resources, and mental health in 2021. Hello everyone, it's me, Scarlett Kol, young adult author, YouTuber, and storyteller, and I'm here today to talk about my not to-do list. But before we get into that, I wanted to say a big thank you for everyone who's been coming out and watching my videos all year. I did start my channel back in January of 2020, and considering we are now sitting on December 31st of 2020, it means we are almost a full year of being on YouTube. So I will definitely have a video about that coming up in January, but it has been an amazing, amazing year, and I would like to thank all of you who have come out to watch my videos, those who come back every week, those who watch sporadically whenever they get a moment, and to any of those new viewers out there that are just watching me for the first time. If you are not a subscriber and you would like to be a part of that elite group of wonderful people, make sure you're hitting that subscription bar and the notification bell below this video so they will let you know every time I put out new content, which is typically on Thursdays. All right, so the not to-do list. It probably sounds very, very counterproductive, but this is a tool that I'm going to be using for the upcoming year to try to reach my own personal goals and to be in a better place come this time 2021. So what is a not to-do list? Well, essentially it is exactly like it sounds. A to-do list would be those things that you want to start, and this is usually what a lot of people are doing and focusing on when they are setting their goals for the upcoming year. They are focusing on, I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start writing every day. I am going to do this and do this and do this. While a not to-do list is a list of those things that you don't plan on doing next year, that you are going to stop doing because they aren't serving you any longer, or they are a waste of your time, resources, or mental health. The concept is a simple one, but I do think it is super, super important because it forces you to go back and assess the things that you did over the last year, over the last couple of years, and see what is working for you and what isn't. To be able to make a not to-do list, you need to know what you do not want to do or you want to stop doing. So by assessing the things that are not working for you or are not serving you in your author-writer career or any other facet of your life, you are able to make a better decision on what makes sense and where you want to allocate the time and resources that you have available for the upcoming year and beyond. Okay, so let's talk about the three precious things that the not to-do list is going to save you. And the first one is time. So when you are creating your not to-do list, you want to take a look at things that you want to stop doing that are a waste of your time. So if you are an author or a writer or anything like that, maybe it's something in your writing process. Maybe there are steps in your writing process that you do because you feel you should and that everybody else tells you what you need to do. For instance, a lot of people like to use character profiles or they'll do character interviews when they're setting up their books. Some people don't like to do this. If this is something that you do, but you don't find yourself going back to that information very often, then maybe it is a waste of your time because this really isn't part of your process. It's somebody else's process that you're trying to make your own. Maybe you need to look at how you structure things, how you do your writing sprints. Maybe you don't like writing sprints and forcing yourself to do it under that sort of scrutiny isn't going to work for you. So you need to take a look at your writing process. What are those things that take time in your writing process that do not work for you? Maybe those need to go on your not to-do list for next year or be replaced by something else that is a little bit more time effective. If you are looking at, the publishing or marketing aspect of being an author, there are some authors out there that, is there a social media platform that takes a lot of your time but isn't giving you a lot of results? Is there something that you do all the time when you have a release that really isn't giving you any results but takes a lot of time to put together? I know maybe posting in certain places, maybe blog posts aren't working for you. Are there other areas of your author life that take up time that aren't useful? For instance, maybe you're a blogger, but people aren't visiting your blog as much anymore, and maybe this is something that you need to stop doing. But the whole intention of assessing your not to-do list on the category of time is to see those things that take up time in your author life that aren't providing the results or aren't providing the benefits that you would like them to, or there are other alternatives that are less time consuming, or you can skip out on them, are not going to see as much of a detriment. There's also two other things that I do want to mention about this. The first one is, if it's taking up too much of your time, but is something that is important to you, maybe it's something that you can farm out to someone else. If you're just starting out, you might not have the capital to do these sorts of things. But if you do have finances available, that you can hire out a PA or VA, so virtual assistant or personal assistant, to do these things, maybe it's going to help you. Maybe you are one of those people who really struggles with their newsletter, putting their newsletter together and getting the graphics and getting all that stuff together. And it takes up a lot of your time, but you know it's something that's valuable to you. Maybe you can outsource that to someone else. So your not to-do list item would be that you're not going to do your newsletter, but you're going to hire somebody else out to do that. I do caution, before you pay somebody else to help you with your time, do make sure that it is something that's worth paying for. If it isn't something that's going to be bringing you value, then dropping it from your plate is probably a lot more useful than paying hundreds of dollars for someone else to do something that isn't serving you either. The other caveat that you need to take a look at is where you are in your author career. For instance, if you are just starting with something, then just because it's taking up a lot of your time and you aren't totally seeing results yet, doesn't necessarily mean it's something that needs to drop. For instance, I've recently started up on TikTok. If you want to check me out, I'm at Scarlett Kol. So I've been doing some stuff on TikTok. When you first start a social media account, such as if you are a brand new author and you're just starting your newsletter or you're just starting on social media, you probably are posting and putting out content for crickets. So when I started out on TikTok, I was making these videos and no one was watching them. And it did take a long time to start getting views. I don't have a massive following, but it did excel pretty quickly and it keeps growing every single day. So this is something that is now starting to pay off for me. I'm actually starting to see people who are interested in my books on this platform. So it is something that I'm going to keep doing in 2021, but it did take some time. And if I had assessed this about a month ago and decided that anything that wasn't showing results and was taking time should be cut, then I would have cut TikTok out of my schedule without seeing the results from that, because it was just way too early in the process. If you've just started on some platforms, if you're just getting your first book out there, before you start taking some of those basic things away, like a newsletter, for instance, make sure that it is a matter of not needing it and really not seeing results, and not necessarily a fact of just being new and just starting to build these processes. But if it is taking up a lot of your time, maybe you just need to focus in a few areas until you get established. Maybe if your newsletter is your focus, maybe you don't need to be on every social media platform for right now. Focus on those two main areas that are giving you results or that you want results in. And then once you start seeing some traction there, then start adding other things to your plate. This is something that can really help you with your time and is not going to allow you to scatter your time across too many things all at once. The second thing you need to look at is your resources. And even though there can be more than money as resources, I'm going to mainly be talking about money because that's the one that most people are concerned with. And if you are spending money or other resources on things that aren't serving you, maybe it's time to give them up. This is the time where you need to look at our subscriptions and things we pay for yearly. I subscribe to BookBrush every year to do my graphics. However, some people don't find it useful. They don't use it very often. I use it a lot, so it is something that, I looked at, does this make sense? Yes, I want to continue my subscription. But if it isn't something that you find that you have been using, then maybe you shouldn't be paying for it anymore. Are you paying for BookFunnel? Are you paying for certain programs that you use for your writing on a subscription basis that aren't serving you anymore? Are there options to do, for instance, Pro Writing Aid does give you the lifetime option. If it's something that you're using and paying for every single month, maybe it's time to ante up and actually buy the lifetime subscription so that you're not wasting money every single month on this program when you really know you're going to be using it for a long time going forward. This could also be if you have a personal assistant or virtual assistant, are the things that they're doing for you making sense? Are you paying for things that don't really need to be done? They've just been done for so long that you just don't even think anything of it anymore. Maybe they're doing email blasts or dealing with bloggers or something like that that really isn't showing you the results. Maybe their time could be used for something that's going to be a little bit more beneficial or trying something else. Or maybe it's time to cut those things out entirely. What are you spending money on that you shouldn't be spending money on? This is a good time to go through all of your finances because you're probably going to have to set them up for tax time anyway. Look through the money that you spent on your author or writer business this year. If you guys would like a video on writer and author finances, I could definitely do that. I actually am a CPA during the day, so I do know a little bit about finance. So we could have that chat if that's something you're interested in. Leave that in the comments below, and it could be something I bring up for 2021. But for the end of this year, you are probably going to be wanting to go through the expenses that you have for your author or writer business. And if you do, go through those items. Did they make sense? Was this something that you needed to pay for, or was this something that you regretted? And if it's something that you regretted, maybe it's not something you want to pay for in the following year. Could have been a one-off that you're never going to see that situation again, or it could be one of those subscription type deals that it just, it's going to auto renew or something like that. So get on top of canceling those things and not allowing yourself to pay for them again. Because sometimes even just those little things, they will add up over time. You get charged for something, it's only $20. And after a while, you're like, okay, by the time I go back and try to get that figured out, I've forgotten about it. I've spent more than that on coffee. So you just don't worry about it. And then you end up getting charged for it over and over and over again. And it's a service that you're not really using. So go through those things that you've spent money on, go through those things you plan to spend money on, and see where these things are serving you or are not serving you. And those things that aren't doing it for you, those need to go on your not to-do list. And if it's something that's an automatic renewal, make sure you're getting that canceled, hopefully before the new year and hopefully before they charge you again. And the last category is a little bit more all-encompassing and could really be anything, and that is assessing your not-to-do list based on your mental health. So these are the things that are stressing you out, causing you problems, or just generally do not bring you any joy in your life. Granted, the author-writer business is a job, it is a career path, and there are going to be things about it that you don't like that you still have to do. Just like your regular job, I'm sure there are things that you have to do on a daily basis that you do not enjoy, you don't like doing, but they still have to get done. But in terms of mental health, it should actually be kind of simple to start putting these things on the not to do list because they should really stick out in your mind as things that you don't enjoy. For me, for instance, the things that I'm looking at for my not to do list is I'm not setting up pre-orders until I've already finished my draft and the book is in edits. Granted, I'm going to be in some situations where deadlines just come and I don't really have the option, but I find myself very, very stressed out when I have a pre-order up and I'm racing to get towards that pre-order. So if I start establishing a routine where I don't set up that pre-order until at least I'm far enough in the process that I know I can finish it within that amount of time without stressing myself about it, then I'm going to be a lot happier in the future. Maybe you are one of those people that loves working towards deadlines and that really, really works for you. Having that pre-order just gives that fire under you to get it done. That's up to you. But for me, for my personal mental health, I stress out about having books on pre-order. I had a book on pre-order for almost an entire year last year, and I actually had the book already written. But with other projects that I had during the year, I still had to take a look at it piecemeal, and I was still racing towards that deadline right at the end. So for me, I find setting myself up with looser deadlines that I can move, maybe booking an editor or something like that, that we do have a little bit more wiggle room, definitely gets me moving in the right direction, but not having that hard Amazon will cut you off from pre-orders for a year deadline keeps me from going a little bit crazy. A common one under mental health as well is social media. There are a lot of various different social media outlets out there, and some people just do not enjoy social media at all. And it is not something that you are ever required to do, but a lot of people will do in the writer and author community. First off, it's a way to connect with other people because being an author is a pretty solitary business. Plus, it's a way to engage readers. But if this isn't something that's bringing you any sort of joy, then maybe you need to either cut back on it, find somebody else to help you out with it. This is where a personal assistant or a virtual assistant can help you with, a Facebook group or posting or something like that, so that you only have to post when you feel that it is working for you, that it isn't going to bog you down or stress you out. Maybe there are certain ones that just don't work for you anymore. I know a lot of people have kind of turned their back on Twitter, that they find that some of the stuff going on there is pretty toxic. So there are authors that I know of this year that are, going silent on their Twitter accounts because it causes them stress and it's messing with their mental health. So they are going to stop using Twitter, or they're going to stop using Instagram because they feel forced to try to have these pictures all the time and they just don't have it when they're trying to meet their deadlines. So it really depends on the individual person. What are those things that don't bring you joy? But the best way to assess this is to kind of go through your year and figure out those days and things that you were doing that really didn't make you happy. What are the things that you had to do for a release that you didn't see a lot of result from it and didn't really make you happy? Do you enjoy being on social media? Do you enjoy certain parts of your author process, or is this something that you can farm out to somebody else? Maybe formatting drives you crazy. Maybe it's something you don't need to do. Maybe you should just work on getting finances in place to hire somebody to do the formatting so you don't have to do it because it stresses you out. Whatever those things that exist in your author or writer business that are affecting your mental health are those things that need to hit the not to do list. So that way you aren't stressing about them next year and hopefully are going to be in a happier place. I tend to find that when I'm in a happier place and I'm in a healthier place, that things seem to move better for me writing wise, and I tend to write more and I tend to be happier with my writing. It might be different for you, but from my experience, that's how it's been for me. So as you're evaluating this past year and getting ready to start the new one, consider using the not to do list for the upcoming year. You may find that it's going to pinpoint some of those things that you want to stop doing and put you in a better position as a writer and author going forward. Hopefully this has been very helpful for you, and I hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Have a happy new year, everyone. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, because I will be coming back in 2021, make sure you're hitting that subscription bar and the notification bell so YouTube can let you know whenever I put out a new video. If you liked my video or any video on the YouTube platform, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button because it's going to let YouTube know it's something worth watching. Thank you so much for joining me, and Happy New Year.